Alright, so let's get started. We're going to make some reference images in Photoshop today. I'm going to speed through some of the tedious bits with me kind of editing stuff, or just the painting part. We'll call this, I don't know, Cruiser 2. And I'm going to keep this at 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. With these, you'll want them to be square. Always, when you're adding textures in like a UV map, it's basically in a square. So we're going to keep this 1,000 by 1,000. It doesn't need super high resolution. I'm also working in the painting workspace in Photoshop. So if you go to Window, Workspace, you can find that painting workspace here. And that'll give you layers, brushes, and colors. And I'm not going to be using any colors except for black and white today. So we don't need that. But we do need our layers and our brushes. So let's just kind of resize those. I'm going to make a new layer that we're going to be painting on. And I'm actually going to be using some legacy brushes. If you don't see legacy brushes in the newer versions of Photoshop, if you go to the menu, you'll find legacy brushes right there. I've actually got this twice. What that'll do is load in the original Photoshop brushes that you would have from older versions of Photoshop. And in this case, I have some that I kind of got used to using, which are these calligraphy brushes. And they're really handy for kind of hard surface modeling or any weapons, guns, stuff like that. For the brush, I'm going to use this flat one, and then for my eraser, which is E on the keyboard, I'm going to go ahead and use, it's already set up there. We can check our opacity and our flow if you want to kind of soften it up a little bit. Those two will let you do that. And smoothing will change kind of, it'll make it so that your brush doesn't get all these like weird jitters and stuff. So having a little bit of smoothing can be helpful, but it will also slow your brush down. So right now this is at 15%, so I'm going to take it down just a little bit. We don't need that much smoothing. All right, so that's pretty much it for the setup. I'm going to go ahead and start kind of concepting this out, and we'll speed that up. Now in here you'll see me use the kind of straight brush like this. I'm just holding the Shift key to get that. The Shift key, you can do something where you do a couple of dots and hold Shift, and it'll make a straight line between them. You can also use the Shift key to draw straight, horizontal, and vertical. You'll see me here duplicating this out and kind of rotating it, flipping it, using Control T for transform. You can move this around and actually just use the silhouette that you've already created to create new, more interesting silhouette. Okay, so now that we have the side view pretty much done, I'm going to center this up. So to center it up, just select your object, select your shape, and then do Control A, and that will select the Control S. But Control A will select, you get like this little bounding box around everything. And then you'll also get these little tools up here. So we can do horizontal line center and vertical line center. It should center it unless you've got like extra stuff on the screen, which it looks like I do. So I'm just going to merge, move this over. So hit Control D to deselect. It's going to kind of center it up right there. Now for this, you could either use rulers or just draw in lines. I prefer to just draw in lines, but I'm going to go ahead and set up my top view, and then we'll go ahead and draw in kind of reference lines. So I'll name this the side, and this will be the top. And just to make it so I can kind of see this a little bit better, I'm going to drop the opacity on the side just a little bit, so we'll kind of get this little faded version. Then in the top view, I'll be able to kind of think about where things are, in relationship to the rest of the image. So I'm going to go ahead and get our brushes changed over here. I'm going to use some regular just a regular brush for this. You can use whatever brush you want, but I want one that's going to be kind of taper a little bit. I'm going to set shape dynamics to on. Right now, pen pressure says it's not active, but it is. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on transfer as well. Set these both to pen pressure, and that'll just kind of let it fade out a little bit. I'm just going to draw a center line. Just going to figure out where that's going to go. I'm going to do Control A and set V, and then just make sure that this is aligned right in the center like that. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit, and then I will see you again for the front view. Okay, now with the top kind of fleshed in there, and again, this is real fast stuff. I'm not putting a whole lot of detail into it because I'm going to see things and see changes that happen as I actually build it in 3D that I'm not really going to be able to imagine at this point. So we just kind of want to have a reference in there. And I've kind of lined these things up with major landmarks in that side view. Now let's go ahead and do the front view. So again, I'm going to make a new layer. We'll drag that in here. We'll call this front. And on the front layer, I'm going to go ahead and hide the top, and I'm again going to base this off of the front, or off of the side. Again, I'm going to drop a line in here, Control A, Control T, or actually Control A, and then just hit the V key, align it so it's right in the center, and then we'll go ahead and start painting in some of the stuff here for the front view. Okay, with the front view blocked in, I'm going to go ahead and just mirror this. Control J to duplicate it, and then Control T, and then we can do flip horizontal, and just move these a bit so that that center line kind of lines up. So there we've got our front view. And again, this is real loose, but it does line up to the landmarks that I've kind of established in the other side and top views. So now that we've got these, we just want to merge up the fronts, and then we're going to set up some comps so that we can quickly export these to files. So for layer comps, I'm going to go to Window, Layer Comps, and we'll just start with the side view. So I'm going to create a new comp for the side. What comps do is just store like layer visibility and position and stuff. So I'll make a new one for the front, and they make it real like quick and easy to export those views to another application. So I'm going to go ahead and, with the top visible, I'm going to set new. I'll set that to top. And now that we've got them all and they're pretty much lined up, we can go ahead and save these. I'm going to go to File, Export. We're going to do Export Layer Comps to Files. So layer comps to files, we want to browse. I'm going to put this into the reference images, the rest, which is where this is going. We'll call this user v2. And JPEG or PNG is fine for this, since JPEGs are a little bit smaller, and I don't really care if these lose quality when they get compressed, or if it's a lossy format. I'll go ahead and leave JPEG. Now click Run, and it will take all of those files, and it will stick them in this folder with all of my other reference images. Now we still got this one kind of faded out. I forgot to turn the opacity back up, but it's kind of fine. Again, these are just real rough concepts, so we don't need a whole lot of detail. So I'll see you in the next video when we put all these into Houdini and set up our reference grids.